Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Stedman. In this series of 2 videos, I want to teach you how to knit this beautiful set. It's a little girl's poncho and hat set. It's from 3 to 10 years old. It's really easy to do. And in video number 1, I will be teaching you how to do the poncho, and in video number 2, the hat. And here is the list of material you're going to need to make them. To make this little girl's poncho, this is the yarn I'm going to use. It's Bernat Baby Boucle. It have 300 grams. It is 97% acrylic and 3% polyester. It's bulky 5 and the color is tangerine green. The netting needle are 7 millimeters. These are from Red Heart, the brand. And you're gonna need a tapestry needle. This one is one of the plastic thick one because the yarn is a little thicker in some part that had those boucle. And you're gonna need scissors, a crochet hook, and you're gonna need a cardboard or a pom pom maker, you know, a square, and something to measure the length of the fringes. I have this book cardboard box. It's like a book cover, and that is the one that I use usually for my fringes. From here to here measure 16 centimeters, and from here to here 15, and I will do it from the 15. Okay, so let's start this cute little girl's poncho. But if you want it a little smaller, for 1 to 3 years old, you cast on 2 less stitches. So for mine, I'm gonna cast on 25. You can cast on 23. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, to know the tail that I need, is I'm gonna wrap around 25 times my yarn here. And if you're gonna do a smaller, you do 23. This is the amount of tail that I need, and I'm gonna slide a little bit. So to do the slip knot, I wrap the yarn around my finger like that and created a loop. I remove that loop, and this one from the back, I'm gonna pass it through that little loop in here. I'm gonna pull, and like that I created my slip knot. So I'm gonna pass the needle through, and I'm gonna secure that stitch there. That's the first stitch. So this is the tail, and this is the yarn attached to the ball, and I'm gonna pass my fingers through here, and I'm gonna start casting on my 25 stitches. And if you're making this smaller, you'll be casting off 23. Also, if you want to do this poncho for an adult, you can cast on 29 or 31. Once you finish, you're going to do a little knot to secure the last stitch. Now we're going to start working on our piece. This piece is done in a purl stitch except for the center stitch that is a net. So here we have to make sure that we have odd number, because we have to be increasing in the center and between the center stitch in the right side and then in the left side. So for mine, I cast on 25, so I have 12 in one side and 12 in the other one. Is 24 plus the center is 25. So depend which side you are making, you have to make sure that you have odd number, because you need an extra in the center. So we're gonna start. This first row is a purl row, and we're gonna purl all the stitches, even the one in the center. Okay. So if you're making this one, for example, with 31, you'll have 15 in one side, 15 in the other one. That's 30 plus the center, 31. Then you're going to purl all the way to the end. After you finish that row, and that row was done in the right side of the piece, and we're working now on the wrong side, and again a purl row. All the way to the end. Even the center stitch is going to be done in the purl row. Now we're gonna do these loops in here, but I have these little holes in here. That is where we're gonna pass through the chain of crochet that is attached to the pom-poms, or you can pass just a ribbon through there. So you have to create two of these parts, front and back, exactly the same, okay? So now, in this row, we're going to purl the first one, purl one, yarn over, and two together. When we do two together, we are decreasing one, but the yarn over, we are increasing the one we are decreasing, and creating the little hole at the same time, or a loop. You see, there is the first one. So now you're going to do yarn over and two together. You only have to do the yarn over first, because if you decrease and you do the yarn over, you'll end up with last stitch. You see the little holes there. Yarn over and two together. Yarn over and two together. You're gonna do this all the way to the end. Okay, create those holes there. When you finish, it will look like this. You have those little holes there. And now we're working in the wrong side of the piece, and we're gonna purl all the way to the end. So you purl the first one, and then that was the yarn over. You're gonna pass it through here, and you're gonna purl that one, and purl. And if you did it right, you will have again your 25 stitches or 23 stitches, the amount of stitches that you begin with. So you see, this is the yarn over. This is like a loop, and you're gonna pass it through here and purl. And you created the little hole to pass the ribbon. After you finish the fourth row, it will look like this. And remember, you have to do exactly the same for the other one. The front and the back are done exactly the same. So we are on the right side of the piece, and how you know we are on the right side? Because the tail is in the front to the tip of the needle, when the tail is in the back, and then you are working on the wrong side. So we're gonna start purl or 12 stitches, or first 12, just like this. So when you have 12 in here, I will show you how to do our first increase. Here I have my 12 stitches, and if you're doing 23, you'll have 11, and if you're doing 31, you'll have 15, okay? So now we're gonna do our first increase, and the center stitch is gonna be a net stitch. So when you're gonna net, you always bring your yarn to the back, but because we want to do an increase, we're going to leave the yarn in the front, and we're gonna knit that stitch with the yarn in the front. And once you have the yarn in the front and you go and knit that one through the back like this, you are creating here an increase. You see, a yarn over that create the increase, and then you knit that stitch, and if you count now, you'll have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 the increase, and the center stitch, that is a net stitch. So now the other stitches are purl, so we have to do an increase again, because we are doing the increase in the center, in the right side of the center stitch and in the left side of the center stitch. So to do the increase here, we don't can do the increase creating the loop from the back here, because don't gonna be in a right increase. You have to bring the yarn to the front, wrap around the needle, and then you purl. Okay, so I'll show you again. When you finish the net, you have the yarn in the back, so you have to bring it to the front, wrap around your needle, and you're gonna purl your stitches, and like that you increase your 2 stitches. Okay, so you're gonna purl all the way to the end. Once you finish that row, you're gonna do this row of purl all the way to the end. Now, instead of 25, I have 27 stitches because I increased 2. So if you start with 23, you'll have 25. And if you start with 31, you'll have 33. Always have to be an even number, odd numbers, I will say. Okay? I am at the center here, and just wanted to show you how you're going to work in here. You have the yarn over there, and that was the increase, so you're going to purl down. That's the center stitch. You're going to purl that one, and that's the yarn over again. You're going to purl that one, and you have here 12 stitches, and you're going to continue to purl all the way to the end. Once you finish, you'll have 27 stitches in this row. So now you have to purl 13, increase, do the center stitch, increase, and purl 13. Okay, so in each row you are increasing, in each row on the right side you are increasing 2 stitches. So you're going to purl. This time it's 13. And always the increase is in the right side. And how I know the right side? The tail's in the front. Here I have my 13 stitches, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13, and now we're gonna do an increase. So the center stitch here is a net, so you have the yarn from the purl in the front, and we're gonna create a yarn over here. You see, by wrapping in the back like that, you're doing that increase in here. So again, from the front, you bring it to the back, wrap it in the back, and you knit that stitch. Now the yarn is in the back, you bring it to the front to purl. So here's in the back, you bring it to the front, you yarn over like this, and that's the other increase, and you purl all the way to the end. Now you'll have 29 stitches. This is a purl row all the way to the end. And once you get the hang of it, of the increases in the center, it's very easy to do. Once again, we are in the center here, and we're going to purl that increase, the center stitch, and that increase all the way to the end. Like this will look in the center. You start to get these little holes in the front. That is where we are increasing. And now in this row, you're gonna do 14 before the increase. So in each row that you start working in the right side, you're gonna do, and we start with 12 and an increase, and then 13 and an increase, and this one is 14 and an increase. The next one, working in the right side, will be 15 and an increase, and then 16 and increase, 17 and increase, like that. And in the wrong side, it will be purl without increase. So now you're gonna purl 14, we are at the center. Now it will look like this. This is the center stitch, is a net, so we have the yarn in the front, and now we're going to create the increase by passing the yarn from the front to the back and create the increase. You net that one, bring the yarn to the front, wrap around your needle like that, and you're gonna purl your 14. So now in this row, you will have 31 stitches once you finish all the way to the end. So we have 14, and we did the increase is 15, the center 16, the increase 17, and the other 14 is 31. Okay. You're gonna purl all the way to the end, and you'll come back with the row of purls. You're gonna purl this row all the way to the end. Now we have to do 15 because we have 31. So you're going to do 15 purl and an increase. Once again, I have my 15 stitches. I have the yarn to the front, and the center stitch is a net. I'll be passing through the top to the back like this. I'm increasing in here. Again, bring the yarn to the front, wrap around the needle, and do the next purl, and purl all the way to the end. Continue like this. And I will show you one more time how to do the increase, and here in the front. I'm gonna purl this row all the way to the end, and no increases, just purl. And this one is 16 purl and the increase. Here I have my 16. Now I have to do the increase, and look, I start to get that shape, the point like that. So mine in here, what I did is until I have 41 stitch in here. Okay, so each time you increase, you are creating this design in the center. Okay, they look really cute. So I start with 12 and I finish with 41. see, and that increase is creating the tip. Okay, so remember you have to create two exactly the same, and I recommend if you have to go out and leave your work in the side, leave it like this. That way you know that you have to do increase, and then you count how many you have in this side, and then you know how many you need to continue. Okay, and that's easier to keep track. So here I have to do the increase again. So I have the yarn in the front, and I'm gonna net that center stitch, creating that yarn over in there, bring the yarn to the front, yarn over, and purl all the way to the end. So in each row in the right side you have to increase. So my next one will be 17 and an increase, and then 18 and an increase, and like that. So you're going to continue working like this until you have the desired length. Here, like I said, for mine was 41. You can do, if you are making this smaller, you can do a 31, and it will be a shorter little, like around here. Okay, smaller little poncho. And if you want it for a taller girl, you can do more row. It's up to you. So I will meet you here to show you how you're gonna cast off and how you finish the little poncho. Here I'm working in row of 38 stitches plus the increase for 39, and I have to do that until I have 41. So I'm almost finished, but I just wanted to show you what it looked like on the knitting needle. You see they're all gathered here. So you will have the tip of the poncho, it's just that it's in here. Okay, so I will meet you here when I finish those few rows that I have left, and I will show you how you're gonna cast them off. Here I have 40. Now I have to do 40 plus the yarn over. That will be the increase for 41, and then I will do my center stitch, yarn over, and my other 40 stitch, and then I will have 41 on each side, because in the way back I will purl all my stitches, and that will give me the 41, and then in the row after that I will cast off. I just wanted to explain you that piece a little bit, that way you know when you have your 41 is after you do 40 and yarn over. That's it. Once you finish, we're gonna cast off, and we're gonna do it in a purl row. To cast off, we're gonna purl the first stitch, and we're gonna purl the second stitch, and we're gonna pass the first one on top of the second one. Again, we're gonna purl the next stitch, and you're gonna pass the one in the back on top of that first one. And you have to make sure that you're casting off with the stitch very loose, because you don't want to be too tight in the bottom when you finish casting off. So you're gonna continue doing this all the way to the end until you have one left stitch on your needle. Here I have one left, so I'm gonna cut a long tail for sewing, and I'm gonna pass that through here, and I'm gonna secure that last stitch, and you always have to do this to secure your stitch. And now we're gonna start sewing our two pieces. Once you finish your second, you'll have the two of them like this, exactly the same. And now with your tapestry needle, you're gonna sew them in each side. And then after that, we're gonna be doing the fringes and the little cord with the crochet hook and the pom poms. Here I sew this part in here, and if you look, you don't see a seam at all. And this is the right side, and I know that it's there because I had to look really well to see that was there that I did the sewing. You don't see the seam. So if you work with this yarn, gonna look like it's a one piece. So the same in the inside, you don't see a seam. So I'm gonna show you how was that I sew mine. Sometimes I get stuck in those little places, But you have to be careful when you sew, you know, with patience, and you'll end up with a piece like this with no seam. Once you finish, it will look like this in both sides, seamless. So now I'm gonna show you how you're gonna do the pom-poms and the little crochet chain for the top. But the pom-poms are optional. If you like, you just do a crochet chain and pass it through here in the top, and you're done without the fringes. Or you can pass a ribbon. It's up to you what you want to do in that part there at the top. With my little cardboard that I use to make pom-pom that measure here 9 centimeters, I'm gonna make my pom-poms with the same material. So if you would like, you can do this in a different color, like white or pink or any other color. So you will do the pom-pom and the chain and the fringes the same color, okay? But I'm gonna use the same material, the same yarn. So I'm gonna wrap around here a lot. The more I pass it, the thicker will be our pom-pom, okay? So after I finish doing that, I'll show you how to finish our first pom-pom. This is the amount that I did for mine. It's like that. And I cut mine here. And I have this piece of yarn left over from when I sewed the side. So I'm going to use it. I put them double. That way it's more secure. I like this. You know, this yarn had to be double for the pom-pom. Since my open space is not in the center, I had to find the center. So around there is my center. I'm gonna turn my work around. I'm gonna tie this really tight here with a few knots, and then after I tie this well, I will cut it in here, and in here I remove the first pom-pom and I will do my second one exactly the same. When you finish cutting your pom-pom, usually when you do the pom-pom in a cardboard like that, usually it's longer here and a little bit shorter on the side. So you have to give it the shape. Like this one, I already shaped this one here. So if you're gonna do the little girl's hat as well for the set with the poncho, go ahead and do the pom-pom now for that one too, and that way you already have that pom-pom done, okay? Here I have my pom-poms now, and with the crochet hook, I'm gonna do a slip knot. And I'm gonna do a chain long enough to pass through my loops and to tie in the front, okay? So I'm gonna do mine off camera and I'll let you know how many chain I will do for mine. I made 130. Now I'm gonna chain one more. I'm gonna cut the yarn, leaving a little tail to attach the chain to the pom-poms, okay? Before we attach the pom-pom to the chain, we're gonna go to the top. You have it like this, and all those loops that you did in the top, you're gonna pass the chain, and it's up and down, all the way around. So I'll meet you here at the end. Here, when you finish here, you find that you pass this end, and you have to pass it through here, and they are the two together. What you do, you pass the one from this side and here. You see, this one here is the one that I'm pulling from this side, and this one is the one that pull from that side, okay? So they are crossed in the back there. So I passed mine and I left one longer than the other one. And I have to tie my pom-poms with 3 strands of yarn because this yarn is very fragile, so I had to put a third one. So now with a smaller crochet hook, I'm gonna pass through the under that knot my crochet hook, and I'm gonna pull this yarn. I'm gonna tie them really well, cut the tails, and I will show you what it look like with the pom poms. Here I finished with my pom poms, and now you're gonna do a knot in here, and if you like, you can leave it loose like that, or you can do a little bow in here and leave one higher than the other, and they look gorgeous. So now I'm gonna show you how you're gonna do the fringes if you want to do fringes. Now I have here my book that I use for doing fringes. From here to here measures 15 centimeters, and from here to here 16. I'm gonna do the 15. So I'm gonna grab my yarn, and each time you pass it through the bottom here, that is 1. So each one gonna be a 3. That's 2 and 3. I'm in the bottom again. So I'm gonna cut this here and here. Grab my 3 and make sure that they're even. And if you want from this one, you can continue just from 1 that you cut, you can do 4, and from that one you can continue cutting the rest. Okay, this one is a little uneven because I had the space in between in the bottom. So I'm gonna put it like this, facing me, the right side, and I'm gonna come here, and with my crochet hook I'm gonna pass it through here, right through the center, and I'm gonna pass it through, pull it like this, pass the end of those tails through here, and pull, and like that you have your first set of fringes. Like that you're going to continue all the way around, and you will give the space that you like. You can give 2, 3 fingers in between. For me, around 2, 2.5, I will place my 3 fringes. So I will do this off camera and I will show you the result. This is my leftover yarn after I finish my poncho, and you see that I have more than enough to knit the matching hat, and that will be in the next video. This is how I look in the back. They look really, really nice. Now let me turn it around. If you want it smaller, what you do is do last row, and if you want it bigger, you do more row, longer. So it's very easy to change the sizes. So I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. If you want to make the hat, that will be the set with a little girl's poncho. Next week I'll be uploading the video. So if you make this and you want to send me some pictures, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Stedman, or you can find me in my Instagram, Ruby Stedman Crochet. Please share my videos with friends and family. That way you help me grow here in YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.